as I hit record here, grab some pen and paper if you don't have it already, because I'm going to be diving deep, and I'm going to open up the lines to some message makeovers later on. So let me do a quick intro. Let's see who just jumped in. I don't know where my chat's going. Oh, that's Audrey. She's like, never miss training. I'm Shamika Tankerson, the Sell More Mentor, and I want to welcome you to this edition of Supernova Sales School. One of the things that we do in Supernova Sales School to start the day off is to get you guys grounded, is to do some posting. We're going to do a little bit of that today because I do have a lot of content that I want to share with you, but I want you to make sure that you participate full out. So the way that you're going to post and do this is you're going to open your browser, go into our Facebook community. So a quick way to get there is powerplayerslive.com. And the first thing I want you to do is I just want you to do a roll call, okay? So here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to go and say, I'm here, Supernova, hashtag Supernova Sales School. So Shamika, I'm here. Supernova Sales School is what you want to use. And I want you to post your Facebook fan page. Post your Facebook fan page. So I'm here, hashtag Supernova Sales School, do your Facebook fan page. And what I want you guys to do is after this is over, I want you to go back through these feeds and I want you to like and support each other's fan pages, okay? So that's the first thing I want you to do, is show that you are present and in the room. If you guys haven't noticed, my background's all different. So I've moved, and although it looks like I've totally moved in, if I were to turn this camera around, you would see boxes everywhere. So shh, don't tell anybody. I'm not unpacked. All right, have you guys done that? Okay, I see some posts going up. I see Audrey, I see some stuff going. I'm checking, I'm not moving on until you guys do it. Here's the deal. We have more than 50, I think it's 50,000 thoughts a day. It might be 60,000. Don't quote me on this, but it's a lot of thousands of thoughts every single minute. You're having these thoughts, right? All day long, thoughts are going to your head. The majority of the thoughts that you have are programmed to the negative. Actually, Dr. Monique is on. She probably would know the answer to that question because she does a lot of like neuro-linguistic programming stuff. Most of the thoughts that you have are programmed to the negative. So you just come into this space, into this classroom with everything that's going on in your day in your head, and I want to empty that out and prepare you to be open to receive. So the next thing I want you to post is, I'm open to receiving the wisdom that's for me today. Post that in the playground. I am open. I'm ready. I'm open and I'm ready to receive. Hashtag Supernova Sales School. Go ahead and post that. I'm going to head over there so I can see. I'm like that teacher that's looking over your shoulders to make sure you're doing everything you're supposed to do. You guys with me? Got it. I'm looking for fan pages. I don't see them popping up. Okay, Audrey, I see yours. A picture didn't pop up for you. I don't know why. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Are you guys posting? I lost you guys. Where'd you go? There you are. Let me mute everybody because I hear some background noise. I want this to be quiet for you guys. Where is my mute? Manage participants. Bam. I did it. All right, cool. All right, so here's the next thing I want you to do. Today we're going to be talking about really your messaging. And so you were enticed to come here because I wrote that we're going to be talking about why people aren't buying. Like, you're brilliant, you're knowledgeable. Why aren't people buying, right? I want you to acknowledge that you're brilliant, but your brilliance can be monetized. So that's what I want you to write. My brilliance can be monetized. My brilliance can be monetized. Hashtag Supernova Sales School. Go ahead and post that in the group. So most people come to me and they think they have a client problem, like a not enough client problem. And really the issue is not that. Really the issue is that your message is not configured to sell. Whether you're online or offline, what you're doing is not working. And so what we're going to go through today, and I'm going to actually go. So what we're going to actually go through today, thanks for posting, everybody. What we're going to go through today is I'm going to go through first the top 7 reasons why you're losing high-end clients. And when you're doing these things, you're actually thinking that it's helping you, but it's killing your sales over and over again, time and time and again. So I want you to really write those down. So normally I have slides. Today I'm not giving you slides because I want you interacting. And if a question comes up as we're going through, type it in the chat box for me, okay? The next thing we're going to cover is the 3 powerful shifts that you must make in order to make more sales. So I'm going to show you what you should be focusing on and how you should be delivering your message in order for you to have not just more sales, but more people who are willing to pay you a premium price point. Okay? Then I'm going to drill down what's going to make a powerful high-end package, offer, and positioning that entices clients who are willing to pay you a premium. So let's dive into those 7 things. You guys ready? All right, so the 7 things that I have for you. So number 1 that I want to drill down is that you're not offering a high-end service that has profound value. You're not offering a high-end service that has profound value, not just value, okay? Now, if you are offering a high-end service at all, what's happening is you're not packaging it in a way that showcases that value. And there's a lot of reasons for that. So the biggest thing is that your package itself does not speak in the language of your clients. Okay, you're not really speaking to your clients' deepest needs, and you're guessing what it is that they need, what it is that they desire. You're guessing about this. And because of that, when they hear your message or when they hear your service, they're not sure that you're the one that can take them where they want to go because you haven't positioned yourself as the #1 choice or the only choice to solve that problem. And a lot of times we are afraid to do that because we don't want to be pompous. We don't want to, boost our egos. We don't want to seem arrogant. But the reality of it is your clients need you to say, hey, I know I can get this done. They need you to be confident about it so that they can be confident in handing over their hard-earned money to you, okay? The biggest thing in this about positioning your offer for value, to show the value, is you've got to be really, really witty and powerful at unearthing that deep hunger or lack that your clients feel. What is it that keeps them awake at night? And sometimes it's something that an issue they didn't even know they had until you name it. When you put a finger on it, then they go, you know what? That's right. That's exactly what it is. I couldn't figure it out, but that's the shift that I need. All right, so you guys got number 1? Sorry, I'm reading chat here. I think I missed that from a couple of minutes ago, Jillian. So I don't know which one I was on. But number 1 is you're not offering a high-end service that has profound value. You guys ready for number 2? So as I'm teaching this, I don't want you to just robotically write down these answers. Okay, I'm moving slowly through each of them because I want you to think about how it relates to you and your business, how you're showing up, how this issue is showing up in your business, and start to begin to think, how can I shift it? Start to write down questions that pop up, feelings that pop up with you in regards to that so that we can deal with them at the end of the session. Okay? All right, number 2. You're not communicating in their language. You're not communicating in their language. So I know you guys are power players. You're smart, right? You know your industry in and out. And I'm going to pick on Audrey here because hers is the easiest for me to do this. She's a CPA. There's all kind of lingo in the financial world that me as a regular business owner, and maybe even you as a regular business owner, you don't give a rip about it. So when she's talking about, financial spreadsheets, even the word spreadsheets just gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like, I'm like, no, I don't want a spreadsheet. Just tell me what I need to do, right? Audrey, unmute yourself. What are some other words you use all the time?
Oh, you mean in my work, not when I'm talking to clients?
Words, not even when you're talking to clients, just what are some CPA kind of lingo words? What do you call documents? Like, what things do you have?
Oh, I'm trying to think about people I've worked for. So they'll talk about, let's see,
Income
you know,
projection.
financial, income statements, balance sheets, you know, forecasts, income forecasts, cash flow forecasts. They'll talk about tax shelters. They'll talk about, you know, risk management.
Okay,
Yeah.
stop. How do you guys feel right now? Everybody's like,
You
none of that, right? So that's what I want all of you to be aware of. Because you are an authority and an expert, you're so used to this language that when you start to talk about what you do, Audrey, you can go ahead and mute yourself. Thank you for doing that for me. When you start to talk about what you do and how you can help people, you start to say things like that. Oh, we can do your financial forecast done, and your income projections, and your clients are like, I just want to know why I don't have more money in my bank account right now. I want to know how come I billed $100,000 in billables and I have $1,000 in my bank account. That's what I want to know. So you want to speak their language. And so if I were marketing, that's what I would say. I would say my job is to help you figure out why you have $1,000 worth of billables, but only $100,000 worth of billables, or $100,000 worth of clients, right? Revenue, but you only have $1,000 in your bank account. Or you're always waiting for the next invoice to get paid. Now you're speaking to that top of mind awareness, and you're speaking their language. So start to jot down, what are some of the jargon type words? Like I hear coaches and consultants talking about people shining online. I'm not trying to shine online. I need a new client, right? I hear people talking about, owning your power in their marketing language. I'm like, well, what does that translate into? Because I don't go to sleep at night going, you know what, I wish I really knew how to own my power. That's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, how can I be more confident when I do a sales presentation or when I speak in front of a group? And sometimes we do it without thinking, and we see other people in the marketplace doing it, and we think it must be working for them, so let me just mimic it. So I'm telling you right now, stop it. Speak your client's language. If a third grader cannot understand your copy in your sales page, if a third grader can't listen to your video and understand exactly what you're trying to teach them, your language is too high. You're above your client's head and they're not going to get it. Yes? All right, so that's number 2. Let me see if I have more notes I want to share, because I want to make sure I give all of that. Okay, so here's the thing that I wanted to say. The bottom line is this. What it really means is when you do that, your clients can't hear what you're saying, right? It sounds like, oh, she seems like somebody I want to work with. He seems like somebody I want to work with. But because you're not speaking the same language, it just over their head. So the first thing you want to do is you want to grab their attention with top of mind awareness and language as low as a third grader. Okay? All right, number 3. You guys ready for number 3? You're over communicating. Okay? You're over communicating. And there's 3 areas that you over communicate. Three areas you over communicate. You guys ready? The first area you over communicate is in person. In person. So when someone says, what do? You go on this long tangent of an infomercial, because that's what people call them, infomercials. So people are like, what's my 30-second commercial? What's my 30-second infomercial? What do you guys do when commercials come on? You get up, you go to the bathroom, you check out, right? You go grab a snack until the main thing happens. That's what people are, they're checking out. They look like they're paying attention, but they are not listening to you. You don't want to sound like a commercial. What is the most powerful thing that you can do one-on-one? You need to have a one-liner that catches people's attention for what you do. And then you need to have stories to back it up. And you only use the stories when they say, well, what does that mean? Or how do you do that? And then you can say, okay, well, I'll tell you about one of my clients. And then you give them a story. Stories sell big time. So you don't want to have this whole, unless you're standing up at a networking event where they tell you you have 30 seconds or you have 60 seconds to talk. In a normal one-on-one in-person conversation, it needs to be conversational. So when somebody says what you do, what's a one-liner that you can give people? Right? So I think one of the ones that I say, I had really a lot of fun this weekend, by the way, because as I was in the room and people asked me what I do, I tried every 30-second, 60-second one-liner that I had. Every time someone asked me, I said something different. And it was kind of powerful to do that market research and see how people responded and how different people responded. So there's one that I say where I show people how to powerfully communicate what they do in a way that their clients not only get it, but they're willing to pay them a premium to experience it. Okay, so right to the point. You guys know I do way more stuff than that. See, a lot of times our ego rises up and we want to show people how qualified we are to help anyone, let alone just them. And so we start rambling about everything that we do. And yes, and I show them how to sell more, and I show them how to speak to sell. I can do all those things, and no one's listening anymore because they've tuned out. They have tuned out. So over communicating in person one-on-one, when it's you and a person talking, networking, party scenario, and people ask you what you do, have a one-liner. Okay, just a one-liner. And then have 3 or 4 stories that when people want more information, instead of going into detail how you do what you do, I sit down with them, I teach intensives, you just tell stories about your clients and the breakthroughs that they've gotten. Okay, because people love to see themselves in stories, so you don't want to over-communicate. The second place that you over-communicate is in a classroom setting, right? Well, let's not say a classroom setting. Let me go back to this other note that I have here. On your initial phone call. So typically, if you guys have been working with me, you will speak or you'll meet someone and you'll invite them to a session. If you're in Play Big, Get Paid or in Next Level Authority, you have a training module that shows you how to do a quick 6-minute to 9-minute initial conversation to qualify the person. On that initial phone call, you're not selling them. You're not talking about anything that you do. So you don't want to over inundate people, even when you reach out to someone. So people always say, I want to get booked to speak. What do I say when I get the person on the phone? Well, what you do is you just qualify that you want to schedule an appointment to have a deeper conversation later. Because when you do an initial conversation with someone and you don't have all the information you need to know what's important to them, you end up over communicating, and then they're overloaded with information and they haven't gone through the process that your sales conversation takes them through to make a decision, right? Everybody should have a structured sales conversation. The reason why that sales conversation is structured, especially if you're doing my I serve selling conversation, it's structured to walk people through some of the questions they have in their mind, walk them through the decision-making process, helping them to see the gap. Well, that initial conversation, you're not there yet. So you don't want to answer the questions, how much do you charge? You don't want to answer how you work. What you want to do is just get an idea of what the client is looking for. Just ask them, what was the reason that you were reaching out to me? That could be a really great one question that you can ask. And then you can just say, okay, great. So here's what I normally do. I'd like to schedule another time where we can really dive deep into what it is that you want, what's getting in the way of that, and how I possibly can support you with that. Is that okay? And then be done with it. Okay, so you don't want to over communicate in that initial conversation. You guys with me? The third place you over communicate is in the sales conversation. How many ears do you have? 2 ears. How many mouths do you have? 1 mouth. So that stands to reason that you should listen more than you talk. This is the most powerful thing that I can give you about sales and conversations in sales. If your sales conversation is you spending the majority of your time talking about who you are, what you do, and how you help people, I guarantee you the majority of the answers you're going to get at the end of the conversation is a no. The most powerful conversations I have, whether the people buy or not, the most powerful conversations I have, and the ones that most likely lead to people telling me, asking me how much is it to work with you instead of me having to even make an offer, are because I let them talk most of the time. I'm like, I didn't even really say anything. You talked the whole entire time. So you must become very powerful at asking questions and listening. So if you are part of, if you've been through any of my trainings, some of them are on YouTube where I talk about the iServe selling conversation, the first third of that conversation, you're not even allowed to talk. The only time you are to talk is to ask a question. You can't say, oh, that reminds me of this. You just ask the next question and the next question and the next question and allow them to talk. Because as they talk, they're going to open a window to you for their deepest desires, their fears, the things that are getting in the way, and what they really, really want, and what might be stopping them from making a decision. And if you can write that stuff down verbatim, you can use that in your conversation to help them make a decision to yes, if it's right for them. So you don't want to over communicate there. Let me just check and see what bullet point notes I have for you guys here. Hey, I got it all. So here's what's important here, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but what helps you not talk so much during your sales conversation is to have a pre-call setup, right? Meaning you send something off to the client that sets up the conversation and gets you more information that you need, so that the majority of the call is using helping them get that breakthrough, which is the decision-making process. Am I ready to move forward to change my current circumstances, or am I not? And I'm going to talk to you a little bit later about how to package that up and what that looks like. And I think a lot of people skip that because they're like, oh, it's so much work, or they think if they get a referral, they don't have to do it. It's a process you never want to skip. So put a star by that, because at the end, when I give you those 3 powerful shifts that you want to have, I'm going to give you that. Okay, where am I? What number am I on? 3? We're moving to 4? Okay. So the fourth one is you're not creating boundaries. Okay, you're not creating boundaries. So in general, people who are willing to pay a premium, they themselves have high boundaries. And I don't know if you've experienced this. For those of you who have already had high-end clients, what you'll realize is they bother you less than people who pay less money. They come when they need something and then they back off. And so they're really clear. Like, here's what I'm investing in. They're going to do the most that they can to get the most out of it. People who pay a little bit of money, they'll call you all the time, they'll email you all the time, and they'll try to, like, blood from a turnip as much as they possibly can. So understanding that about high-end clients, you must also have boundaries. If you don't have those proper boundaries in place, both online and offline, you naturally repel people who operate in that level, on that level. Do you understand what I'm saying? Let me see what notes I have. So you might think that you want to be available for every email that they have, every phone call they have, you want to just, hello? Yeah, I'm here. You really don't want to do that. What you want to say is, okay, here's what happens, right? If you send me a message, so like you guys see this with me, you can post, like you have access to me in the playground all the time, right? But I'm not always answering all the time, and I don't always answer. Sometimes I don't answer the same day. But I've set up that boundary for you to know that within about 24 hours, if not, I'll let you know if it's going to be, longer than that. I will get back to you and let you know what that answer is. If I'm not, then I'll say, hey, I'm going to circle back to this by this time. So letting people know, yeah, you have unlimited email access to me, but it's going to be 24 hours. I need at least 24 hours to respond. Those types of boundaries, right? Both online and offline. A powerful thing for you to do with your sales conversation is to make sure that at minimum, no one can schedule a sales conversation earlier than a week out. Because again, it's showing, hey, I'm not just sitting around waiting on the next person to call me. So instead of having your calendar set up where people can go in your calendar and tomorrow schedule something, and now you're overbooked because you weren't expecting it, my suggestion is 2 weeks out. That's my suggestion, 2 weeks out. So what kind of boundaries can you put in place that show your level of authority, that show you run a business like a business, right? It's not a hobby, a side gig, a 24/7 7-Eleven. You know, it's not a Walmart, open all the time. You know, it's banker's hours. What can you do? How can you structure yourself in that way? And what it really does is it's going to build a professional barrier for you. And it's going to convey that you are someone who values your time. You want to allow yourself to be taken care of, to taken advantage of. And that it's a further indication that you know your worth, that you know that you're worth something, that your time is worth something, that you are worth something, that the knowledge that you have is worth something. There was one other place I wanted to talk about putting this boundary in place. It might come back to me later. I didn't write it down in my notes. All right, so we should be on 5, right? Are we on 5? Okay. So we're talking about why you being so brilliant, you still have people that won't pay you. They won't buy from you at high value. This is huge. So now we have I've shown you some communication processes that maybe you're not showing, that you have authority level or expert status. But here's a huge one. You don't trust your own value. You don't trust your own prices. You're too worried about your prices or fees. You guys ever heard of the 80-20 rule? So of all the people you have in the world, let's apply the 80-20 rule to that. There's 20% of the people that you have on your list in your communities who are only waiting on the high value stuff, the high-end, high value stuff to invest in. I will let you guys know that I am one of those people. I will not buy your $4.99 course. I'm inundated with information in the online world. That's not an investment I want to make right now. So it doesn't matter if it looks good or if you're offering it. One, I don't have time to consume it. And two, I have access to so much. I have information coming out the wazoo. Okay? So if I'm on your list, I'd be part of that 20% that's just waiting on you to listen to me, waiting on you to make an offer that I would invest in, or else I wouldn't be on your list at all. You guys with me? So you're thinking, if I make it $50, out of 100 people, 80 people will buy it because everybody can afford $50. And you know it's great information. And you know it can make a difference for their business. But somebody like me is like, that $50 thing is going to be crap. I don't have time for that. I don't need basic information. So I'm already assuming it's basic. I don't need it. So you're pricing yourself right out of a high-end client. And probably your packaging too. But I want you to hear me when I say this. You can go out and get 10 people at $500, or you can go get one at $5,000. That choice is yours. But know that there's 20% of your market in your list that are listening to you. If they're on your list, they care what you have to say. They're waiting on the high-end offer. They're not going to invest in your low end. And when you don't provide an opportunity for them to do that, you are missing the boat. Got it? Let's see what other notes I have here. Okay, so I think I would love to tell you guys this story. You've probably heard it again. About the car for sale, because I want to paint this picture to make sure that it's anchored in. So let's say you're walking, right? And you need to buy a car. You're catching the bus to work every day. Just pretend with me. And you've got 500 bucks set aside so far, and you pass by this car. It looks amazing. It's got a for sale sign in it, and it says $500. I mean, it's clean. You've got 500 bucks. You're walking, trying to get to the bus stop, and it says 500 bucks. What are you thinking? It's going to break down when I hit the stop sign. This is a piece of junk. That's not real. Something's wrong with that car, right? But here's what you don't know. The backstory to that car is this, that the car belongs to a little old lady whose husband just died. All she wanted to do was to bless someone who needed a car. She doesn't need the money, so she figured she'd just slap that tag on it. You don't know that, though. You just know what history tells you, what your experience tells you. Now, what if that car had a $5,000 price tag on it? You might not have the $5,000, but you'd be thinking, okay, I'm gonna save up. I'm gonna get it. Now you're interested enough to pick up the phone and call the number on it because it's congruent. It lines up. Some of you are like that little old lady. Your desire to help people, to give them something, to put your work out in the world, so much so is pricing you right out of being able to do the very thing that's your heart's desire. And furthermore, your communications, your emails, your messaging is structured and written in a way that keeps telling people you're low price, you're low price, you're low price. One of the words that one of the key words, a trigger word that I would really, really, really encourage most of you to stay away from is the word struggle. And to put struggle with the word money. So if you're struggling to make money, because who's going to show up? People who can't pay you. So there's a difference between having a struggle and wanting to make more money than struggling with making money. Language is very powerful. Language is very powerful. So you must pay attention to how you language what you do so that you attract that 20%. If high end is what you want to sell. All right, I think I combined a few, so my numbers are a little bit off. All right, so this is 6. I said I was going to give you 7, but I combined a couple, so we're going to stop at 6. And for a lot of you, this is the ticket. Your offer seems highly complicated. A lot of bells and whistles, too much to do. And there's a couple of reasons for this. One is you don't trust your own value, so you're cramming your packages full of crap. The reason why I call it crap is because I can pull out 8 out of the 10 things that you're given and still get the same result. If that's the case, it doesn't belong. Even your bonuses should be something that supports people in getting a better result. So if you can pull it out and nothing changes in the result they get, it probably doesn't belong. I don't think you guys heard me. I just gave you a really good wisdom nugget. If you can pull it out and nothing changes in the result that they get, it doesn't belong. You don't need it. The other thing is the way that you explain how they get to point A, point B. I'm going to pick on somebody. Who knows who I'm going to pick on? Joe. Joe's extremely knowledgeable about so many technical things. Technical things. And like Audrey, who deals with money, you start talking mind maps and, you know, traffic and conversion from traffic and the 1% to the 5% and, you know, getting down to your cost per lead, you lost me. Like, I'm out. I don't want to hear about it anymore. So how do you talk about what you do and package it where you know that everything that they need is in there, but you only speak to the deep desires that they have? Does that make sense? You speak to the desires that they need to be met, knowing that you're going to put all the rest of the stuff in there. So if you guys use me as an example, when you're in Play Big, Get Paid, your deliverables are your signature talk, your signature system, right? One high-end package, and a way to sell it, right? The exact way to sell it. So those are the 4 deliverables. But you guys get way more than that. If I were to tell you everything that I was going to do with you, I would probably send you into overwhelm and into a tailspin. We're going to research your target market, right? We're going to, you know, redo your 30-second intro. We are going to, what are some of the other things I do? Just crazy things that we do, even looking at like Facebook and how to post on Facebook and track. I don't even talk about that stuff when I make the offer. It just all ends up being, you know, bonus, sales pages, copywriting. I don't talk about any of that. Because what you really want is you want clarity in what you're presenting, what you're packaging, and to know that you can sell it. And that's what I sell you. Everything else is gravy. It's cherry on top. So think about how you share your packages. And one, look at what you can pull out of it that isn't necessary, but that's just you trying to make up for your feeling like you're not giving enough value. So stuff doesn't equal value. And value is actually perceived by your clients and not by you. It's what they get out of it. Did you guys hear me? It's perceived by your clients. So you can't say this is more valuable. You can put a ton of stuff in it and your clients can still perceive it as not valuable. Value does not equate to how much is in it. And I would venture to say the more you pay for something, the less probably you should put in it. The more you're going to charge for something, the less you should put in it as far as stuff is. And go by that rule of thumb. If you can pull it out and the results don't change, then it doesn't belong. You don't need it. And then what you do is you just restructure and take something that they do need and make that a bonus instead. Okay. Hey, Jillian. All right, so I'm going to stop before I go into those three things to get you on track and see if I have any questions so far. Anybody have any questions they want to bring up from what we've gone through? Just unmute yourself and jump in, or you can type in chat. No questions, nothing popping up? You have a question, Jenna?
I don't know if I really have a question, but I'm sure that you've seen, I'm doing this Jumpstart your marketing, Facebook marketing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that it has way too much information in it, but that's why I'm doing it, because in the NLA, the next level authority, we're going to be able to really, condense it and pick those things out. So that's what I'm thinking about.
You were having
I'm probably giving people away. Huh?
I said you were having a panic attack.
I just think that whoever, signed up for this course is getting a heck of a lot of value for their money. So
yeah. Well, and here's the thing, they might not even see it that way. It's just a lot of stuff in there.
Totally.
What you want your clients to do is you want them to get a result. So if you can dwindle it down to one focused area where there's a specific result for that first time out, then let them know, here's your next hole. You have a better sales funnel that way, as opposed to trying to give them everything they want, right? So here's a saying that I say all the time, write this down. You don't have to give them everything you know, and you don't have to give them everything they need.
Right.
And I want to make sure you understand what I'm saying. You know a lot of stuff, right? There's a lot that you know. And sometimes we try to sell products or walk our clients through a process where we're trying to, it's like they're going to school to do what we do. You're the expert. You just need to get the result. They don't need to learn all the ins and outs about social media marketing. They just need to know what steps they need to take right now to get this one specific result.
Yep. Well, oh yeah. We'll have fun with that one later.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, we're getting ready to start NLA shortly, and so that's one of your projects is doing your products. So that's going to be fun.
Well, I figured that this is a good start, you know. So at least I have like my content ready, and then I'll be able to pick through it and figure out how I'm gonna package it and stuff. So that's the main reason why I did it.
Yeah, definitely. And what you tend to see, or what I see when people are able to do this, when their packages really support a result, as opposed to just, you know, how much can we put in this to say that it's valuable, is more people buy because it's clear. It's not cluttered. Right now it's cluttered and people are going, well, I don't need this and I don't need that, and they're picking through it. But if it can just be results focused on one singular result, it doesn't mean you can't come back to them later and say, okay, now that you've done this, here's the next thing that you need. And you guys see me model this in my own business model, so you get an opportunity to see how that works, right?
Right. Yeah.
You start and play big. Actually, most of you start and sell more, but you start and play big. And in play big, it's getting the foundation of your business with those 4 deliverables I just gave you. But then in NLA, it's how do we deepen the sales funnel? What's the next product we can create? And it's project focused, right?
Yeah, I'm actually getting ready to do one of our webinars today. It's the Facebook part 2. And I've actually taken some stuff out because I'm like, no. So I've realized that, and that's good.
Well,
I don't need to explain this to them.
Don't forget you have access to me. So you can always throw a package up and say, okay, what does this look like? Here's what I'm selling it for. Here's who I'm selling it to. And I can help you tweak it. Okay?
Yeah.
You don't have to struggle with that on your own.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You complete?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Anybody else got something that's come up for them as we've gone through this section? No? All right, rock stars. What's my next segment? So 3 shifts you need to make, right? Okay. So I want you to understand how high-end clients think. And if you've ever invested at a high level, put yourself in these shoes, okay? This is the 3 shifts you need to make more sales. The first one is this. Understand that high-end clients want direct, clear answers so they can make fast decisions. They want direct, clear answers. They don't want to have to go through 5 modules or something to get to the answer that they need and to get the result. Think about yourself. You're like, do I want to take an 18-week course to figure out, you know, how to put it together a signature talk so I can go make money speaking? You're thinking, how can I get to that faster? How can I get to it without having to sift through? You'd rather pay to sit with someone one-on-one to help you design your signature talk than to go through an 18-week course module by module by module by module. Information seekers, who are your low-end clients, they're just looking for what's the cheapest way I can do it. Your high-end clients are like, quick decision, quick results. How can we accelerate this process? Can I just have one-on-one time with you? I paid, which isn't a lot, I paid $500 to spend 45 minutes with someone on a phone just to have them take a look at, review my copy on my webpage I just did. That's it. Could I have spent less money and went through this long, like 12-week course that this person had? Yep, could have done it. Did I want to? No. It's quick and easy. Let's just get it done. So understand, you have 20% of your market that's thinking this way. How can you cater to them? Because it's going to take you 10 people at $500 to make $5,000, but it's only going to take you one of them. So how do you do this in your languaging, in your messaging, in your sales message? So you're going to use consistent stories from your past clients, right? So not guarantees, like I guarantee you're going to make 100 grand. We're not doing slimy stuff like that, but consistent success stories from your clients. They do the selling for you, and they create what's called a hunger gap. And when you create these success stories, you want to kind of give them like a tagline type title. So some of the examples I have here is from 30 pounds overweight to a firm, slender figure. And you can post these on your social media. You can send them in email messages. Use your client testimonials to show the results that you can get. I'm going to be reaching out to some of you guys over the next couple of weeks because I'm going to be doing this with you. I'll be asking you if you want to jump on a Zoom call or a Google Hangout with me, and let's walk people through where you were before and where you are now. Super powerful story sell. So now you don't have to be the slimy person that's like, buy my stuff, it does this. Buy my stuff, it does that. Use your client stories. Some of you may be in industries where you feel like it's, you know, kind of like taboo to put somebody's face out there. First, ask people. They may say they don't care. Or confidentiality is an issue. You can still do a case study without naming the person. Just do a case study. So this is where the client was when they started. Here's where they were thinking in the frame of mind. Here's what I did. Here's the part of my system that we put into place. And here's the results that they have. The place that most people get stuck here is they are afraid that they're taking credit for their clients' results. What you're doing is you're just stating the facts. You're not saying, hey, look what I did. You're just stating the facts. That's why I call it a case study. And the more you do this, the more you're going to draw people to you. I even do this when I do like a 30-second intro when I'm networking. I'll do a quote or say, you know, ask a question, and then I'll tell a story about a client. Just a real quick synopsis. Okay? All right. And you want the stories to be short, so let me just give you an example. It could be simple as, you know, she didn't have any new clients in 5 months, and after working together, she tripled her business in 18 months. Right? Tripled her business in 6 months, tripled her business inside of a year. And even if you can take that tripled her business to a dollar figure, the more you use numbers, the more factual it is for people, the more it anchors. And it allows you to get past that I'm feeling salesy kind of thing because you're just stating the facts. Second shift you want to make. So in your conversations when you're talking to people, casually drop your best success stories into conversation, one by one, right? So what do? I produce events for my clients that save them up to $200,000 or make them up to $450 in new money. Right? $450,000 in new money. And if you wanted to produce an event or knew someone who did, who do you know that would want to know more? So just have that conversation with them. always do that. Who do you know who want to know more, unless I'm standing up. If it's a regular conversation, I just stop at the first line. That's the one-liner. Let them say, how do you do that? What do you do? Right? The majority of my clients go from charging like $156 for what they do, or $150 for what they do, to charging a minimum of $1,500 for the same amount of work. And these are still client stories. And just have more and more and more. How do you do that? You do more, another story. So what's your secret to making that happen? You do another story. You don't begin to say, I teach workshops, I do seminars, I do one-on-one coaching. You just keep telling stories, stringing them one after the other to help the person get a picture of how it is you support people. It works, I'm telling you. Because people see themselves in stories. Okay, here's the last one. Your lead generation must build immense value about you and your service. Your lead generation must build immense value. So there's so many ways that you can do lead generation. The number one way we're using in the playground is speaking, but there's also webinars, there's Facebook ads, you can do LinkedIn invitations, you can retarget people that have come to your website. Networking is another way that you can do it, but how can you bring value to people? Just make sure that everything you do sends and conveys a message that you, as a service provider, are of high worth. Not taking a picture, you know, in front of the Eiffel Tower, or taking a picture with your, you know, Michael Kors or whatever high-end brand Christian Louboutin shoes. That's not what I mean about positioning yourself as high value. That's dumb stuff, right? Because some of the biggest and brightest brains in the world who are making multi-billions of dollars wear the same thing every day, right? You wouldn't even know who they were if you didn't know who they were. What value can you bring to the table? How do you position yourself as an authority? And some of the ways that you can do that is, you know, teaching to a point, but when a prospect responds to your marketing, start by creating strong boundaries. You know, you're not always necessarily being available right away, but you have a system and a process. And again, I'm going to show you this when I go into the next step, how to put this process in place for you. One of the things, and I learned this from one of my coaches, Adam, that I used to do, and I don't do this a lot now, just because I like to kind of wow people with the fact that I will schedule an appointment with them. But when I first started out, Adam would say, hey, have an assistant schedule the appointment for you. And if you don't have an assistant, just grab one of your kids or your cousin or something and let them do it. So that it positions you, you know, as, hey, you've got somebody on your team. And for some of you guys, that might not feel good. I don't want you to do anything that doesn't feel good, but you also must understand what's going on in your prospect's mind. Right? Also must understand what's going on in your prospect's mind. They are looking for somebody to support them that they feel like is worth the amount of money they're willing to invest. And we already have in our minds what we believe someone who is successful, how they operate a business. So what do you think when you see a business owner who has a Yahoo or a Gmail address on their card? What do you think? You're like, nah, right? You need to have a name domain. So it's that same thought process. It's not, you might know they're valuable, but you're thinking, why don't they have, you know, their business name? Like, what's going on that they don't have that? That it's like, you know, totallyslim@gmail.com. You know, some of you guys have my Yahoo, but you have it because you're private clients of mine and you can email me that way. But our email is theshamikatankerson.com. So I know anybody responding to me in that email box or sending me something in that email box is not a client of mine. But it also shows that I take my business seriously. So that's just one area that you can look at, up-leveling what you do, or just simply having a process that people have to go through before they can work with you. And after, have an onboarding process. I've invested with people, and when it's time to work together, what happens is they're just like right in it. They're in the work right away. And I'm thinking to myself, well, don't you want to know about my business and, you know, what my next goals are, what I have already? You know, you might be wanting to create something that I already have in place. So your onboarding process lets your clients know that you're serious about doing business with them. And you also want to have that kind of structure for your sales conversations. And I'm going to jump there in just a second. So you guys get all three things. The first one was have clear, direct answers for them so they can make fast decisions, right? Really clear, 1 to 2 sentences about how you can support them and how you can help them. When people start to talk to you about what you do, again, these one-liners, but these one-liners are your best client testimonials and case studies. They went from this to this. They came to you like this, they ended up like that. So people say, what do you do? You answer one. People say, what do you do again? You answer that. How do you do that? You answer with another one. Okay? And then the third one is that your lead generation must build immense value about you and your service. And it's got to position you as an authority. Right? So you send a downloaded gift to someone, and before they can have a conversation with you, they would need to complete a questionnaire. And it would only have about, 5, no more than 10 questions. And it's automated. They send it back to you, and then they're able to put themselves on your calendar. I can't tell you how many times just that sheer process alone, people are like, wow, I've never had to do anything like that before. So just some last final tips on building value. You need to make sure you're offering a first-class service. You need to make sure that your brand matches the brand of people you are talking to. Okay, I'm not saying go out there and get a whole branded photo shoot. I've run my business for many, many years without any of that stuff. I'm just doing it right now. Make sure that you position yourself where for a strategy session, it's at least 1 week out to 2 weeks out. And then make sure you have a quick questionnaire, 5 to 10 questions max, that's designed to eliminate tire kickers and people that could be wasting your time because they don't want to go through that process when it's time to do a strategy session with you. They're all sending signals to possible high-end prospects that you're top drawer, that you're top class, that you are an authority. It's elevating your credibility, that you have a system in place, that you just don't fly by the seat of your pants. Oh yeah, I can jump on a call with you right now. And they're like, oh, I had to make dinner for my kid. You're like, okay, I'm available right now. And you just keep doing that because it seems like you're hungry for the next client. It's also sending the message that your service will not be cheap. So by the time you do have a sales conversation with them, you've perfectly positioned your prospect to respect you, desire you, and expect top-notch value from you. And then the final thing that they will be looking for is a high fee. I can tell you that I have talked to people and made my offer and shocked them that my offer wasn't higher. They're like, that's all? I'm like, it's $10,000. It's $15,000. They're like, man, I could do that, right? So this is all positioning for you. All right, so I told you I was gonna go through 3 things that you need to do, your package, your offer, and your positioning, but I wanna see if there's any questions that you guys have before I go through. Oh, wait a minute, Audrey, you had a question about an example of something. Did I miss that a long time ago?
No, you followed it, like you must have been just in my train of thought because the 30-second intro, you gave the example. Like
Okay.
right after I typed that, you gave the example, so we're good.
Okay, awesome. Any other questions before we move to the next segment? All right, so be thinking, because after I do this section, I'm going to open up the line to do makeovers. You can tell me what you're saying now, and we can kind of tweak it. Makeovers of packages, what you're offering now, what you could probably take out of it, looking at the pricing and all of that. So I'm going to open the line up to do that once I go through this next segment. I just want to make sure there's no other questions here. Okay, yeah, I don't see any other questions. All right, so the next section that I want to give you for this training is the 3 things that I really think you need to focus on, aside from taking action. So here's the deal, guys. You can prep and plan all day long, but you got to start talking to people about what you do. That's why I decided to do this training this time, because we're halfway through the year. And the year's not over. You can still be making money, but you have to clearly show people the road and the way in which they can work with you. You know, people come to me all the time. They're like, I need a website. I need to create this flyer. I'm like, no, you just need to talk to people. Pick up the phone or go out and get from behind your computer and go meet people, and stop waiting on the magic, client fairy to drop clients on your front door or into your inbox. So I'm giving you tools right now that you can utilize to help support you in doing that sooner and faster, which are almost the same thing, but not to me. I mean, you can go get a client today if you use some of the tools that I've given you. This weekend, one of the things that was really powerful for me, and another reason why I decided to teach this messaging point, is I didn't do any pitching while I was there. And you guys know every quarter at minimum, I do a 3-day event as part of my marketing plan. And what I do is I get in the room and I serve my butt off. I hear people asking questions that I can answer. I go to lunch with them and I coach with permission. I don't do it without permission. I coach and I answer questions and I give strategy. And so this time I did a little bit of that, but really what was happening is just in my languaging, remember I kept using these different things that I talked about with what I do. I was just trying different ones to see what would work and telling stories about my clients. And when I got back to my office, and a lot was going on. I mean, we had released my brand, the video was going on, all of the website was released and people were looking at that. But when I got back to my office, I had 5 applications for strategy sessions. Didn't think that was going to happen. Using this process of messaging, as opposed to just always saying, I coach, I sell this package, I can help you lose weight. Here, try this, suck on this lollipop, drop 5 pounds, get rid of your headache, that kind of thing. Just sharing the work that I do based on top of mind awareness of the problem of the client that the clients are having, and stories about the clients that I'm currently working with and the results that they are getting. Case studies. Stories sell. Messaging is important, probably more so than anything else you're doing. Okay? All right, so first thing in this next section, your package. So I'm going to give you 6 things that your package needs to have in it for you to be on a roadmap to high-end clients. Ready? So you need to create the package or the solution that will bring them out of the woodwork. And the way that you do that is you do it by using language that's talking to the problem that they have. A lot of times you guys hear me talk about someone selling a water filtration system. And a lot of times they're saying, I sell this water filtration system. This water filtration system is great. It will give you water that has a high pH level and will really hydrate your body. The water tastes so good. And they're going on and on and on and on about the water, right? But the reality of it is the clients can't hear above the noise because they're not looking for water. They're having headaches. What you know as an expert on water filtration, or let's say high pH water, is that when you're dehydrated, headaches show up. So they have this headache. So if you were to switch that marketing language to say, look, people come to me all the time with headaches, and I'm able to eliminate those headaches and they never come back again. Now I'm listening because I have a headache. So what is your client's top of mind awareness, and make sure your package speaks to that problem. Make sure your package speaks to that problem. Make sure that it satisfies one of their deepest desires using your highest skill set. Not all of their deepest desires, not everything that they need to get to the next level. One of their deepest desires, but using your highest skill set. Not something you have to Google and second guess yourself about doing because you see everybody else in the market selling it. What's your highest skill set? One of my highest skill set is messaging and languaging. You guys watch me do it all the time. It just rolls off my tongue. See you, Jillian. Thanks for jumping on. Okay, so messaging is one of my highest skill sets that I had taken for granted for a very, very long time, but a lot of people struggle with what to say. So one of the packages that I offer focuses on all of their messaging, and it's easy for me. So what's your highest skill set? So one of my mentors says this: that which comes easiest for you is what you should charge the most for. That which comes easiest to you is what you should charge the most for. It's counterintuitive, I know. You're like, well, it only takes me 3 seconds to do that. Then go sip a Mai Tai on the beach. Because that's where your clients are going to get their power. That's where you're going to be powerful in supporting them, because they're going to get the most value out of that. Because it just comes out of you. When you have a high-end offer, you want to create special add-ons. So things that make your clients feel special, but things that add value. So a lot of times I'll do something like a 2-hour or a 3-hour initial startup where we'll outline everything we're going to do anyway, so that they get it really fast. So a good bonus for me is like, let's do a power session where I map out your signature talk, where I map out your signature system for you, and then kind of role play with you on selling it so that you can hit the ground running while you're still going through the modules, and we'll perfect it along the way. Doing something like a VIP day where they get a real deep dive with you, but they still get everything else. What personal touch can you put on it? Okay, so here's a good one. When you think about the value of solving the urgent problem that your clients have, they're hemorrhaging in their business, they're hemorrhaging in their life, they're hemorrhaging in their relationships, they're hemorrhaging in their health. Like if they don't get this fixed, it's all gonna go to hell in a handbasket. Whatever the cost is, or the value to them of solving that problem, that's what you charge for your solution. So a lot of times I'll do an exercise where I'll write down the value of everything that I would be doing for my clients, and it's way more than what I charge. You know, I'm in my comfortable space. So I invite you to do that kind of exercise. Not what it costs, like in the market, what's the value of it? And value can be intrinsic, meaning it's priceless to have that back, or to, to get that under control. But value can also roll over year after year after year. We forget that. We forget. It took me a long time to remember and realize, to recognize, not just remember, to recognize that when a client works with me, even when they stop, I'm still a part of every dollar they make in their business. Because they're still using the same structures and systems I put in place for them. And then they're mastering them because they're in practice with them. So what's the value of that? If my clients are charging $200 to do this work, if they were to move on for the next 5 years doing that, this will be that much revenue. But now that they're charging $3,000 to do this work, or $5,000 to do this work, or $10,000 to do this work, now let's move out 5 years and see what that looks like. So the reality of it is, $100,000 program should be easy for me. So with that in mind, a 5,000 or a 10,000 or even a 15,000 is a drop in the bucket. So look at the value that you bring to the table, charge based on that. The second thing when you do a high-end program or a package is you want to have an upsell that's either a done for you or a maintenance package for them. Because it gives them that option to invest more, to take some of the load off of their plate, or to accelerate the result. I can teach you guys how to do Facebook ads and retarget them to make money, like using webinars. But if I were to do that for you, you'd have a lot less stress, and the learning curve would be shorter because we would just, tweak it for you along the way while you're still making money doing the other thing. Whereas if you're doing it for yourself, some of your other stuff might stop because you're so focused on figuring this piece out. So now your revenue is dipping and diving, right? So a done for you or maintenance package, if you were like Jenna, or even Elaine, who sells appreciation marketing, upselling with a maintenance option or a done for you option is a great way to package it. I think I got all of them in. The last thing is just to remember that 20% of the market you are currently serving right now, they're potential high-end clients. They're looking for that red carpet type of thing to invest in that's going to get them an accelerated result with a minimal amount of time investment on their hands, because that's the way they buy. They understand the value of their own time, and they don't want to just sift through information and try to implement it on their own. They want your expertise. Okay, second area, your positioning. So the way that you offer your high-end package is what's going to dictate or communicate or indicate that it's for high-end committed clients only. So your language needs to talk about that. Like, I don't take everybody. The only way you can do this is by application. A lot of times when I do a signature talk, I'll allude to my higher end programs and say that there's prerequisites for that, so I'm not going to offer it here. We're going to start at this point. So I'm already positioning that there's a higher level of investment, that there's a higher level of commitment for this. And you want to do that in writing, when you're giving them the application, whether you're sending out emails, you're always positioning that it's not just if you have the money, you can come in. Because when people come into a sales conversation with the mindset that as long as they can pay, you'll take them, you'll get no's most of the time. Because they're not believing that you're serving them in your highest good. They just think that you're like, okay, you have the money. Here's what I'm going to do for you. Take the offer. And I always take a step back and go, let's push back a little bit. I'm going to take working with you off the table because I don't even know if you're a good fit. The work that I do requires a high commitment on your part. It requires you to actually do the freaking work. And if in this conversation I find that you haven't been doing the work, or you're blaming somebody else for the work that you're not doing, I'm not going to make that offer to you. So let's just talk. Let's see where you are, see what kind of breakthroughs we can get you to by the end of this call. And if I feel like you're ready, then I'll make the offer. If not, I'll give you a good resource or a good recommendation, and we'll stay connected. Positioning. Okay? And hopefully you guys are all doing this. You're not auditioning for America's Got Talent when you get on the phone with your clients. You're the one sitting on the other side of the table. They're auditioning to work with you. Please have that mind shift, pretty please. It's not an audition for you. You're not tap dancing to show them how great you are. you're really seeing if you have something that can support them in moving forward and if they'll actually get a result. Because you can tell on the call if they will or not, if they're willing to or not. Let's say that. In other positioning, like I talked about before, have an online assessment tool, whether it's a pre-quiz or those 5 to 10 questions. If you're already working with me, you have this. You have access to it. You have access to samples of how to set it up, and it should already be set up for you. If it's not, get on it. You should not be getting on the phone call with anyone who hasn't gone through that assessment, because that's your first tip. That's the secret strategy to finding out if people are going to do the work they need to do to get the result. I've had people show up to my call going, oh, I just didn't have time. And I'm like, oh, I just don't have time to do this call. Because what you're showing me now is that there's a ton of work that's required for you to get the kind of results you want to make, the kind of money you want to make. You've got to set up the foundation, and you've got to be in action. And if your life is too wild and busy right now for you to take 5 minutes to answer 5 questions, there's no way you're ready for this. You'll know immediately. And then there's no rescheduling. Come back when you got your big girl panties on. All right. Assessment. Oh, when you do your sales conversation. So again, this is all positioning. When you do your sales conversation, please make sure that your sales conversation has a special name, a results-driven name, and at least 3 to 5 takeaways that they will get whether or not they sign up with you. So it doesn't matter, this call is going to be valuable for you, even if you don't say yes to my offer. You're going to take away a ton of value. 3 of the ones that I use is we're going to look at what's blocking you. We're going to look at your current level of authority, how your clients see you, how you show up, how your clients see your level of authority, and what's blocking you from getting sales. Can't remember the other ones, but another one that I'll use is I'm going to give you at least 1 action step. We're going to map out a plan for you, and I'm going to give you 1 action step that you can put in to get into action right now. 1 thing that you can do to get into action right now. So you want to give them some value that they're going to take away with, and they always get that on the call, whether they say yes or no. And then you name it, results driven. Don't name it clarity call. Don't name it strategy session. Don't name it sales conversation, right? If you're showing people how to lose weight, my favorite is get in your skinny jeans 90 days or less session. So get in your skinny jeans session. Sell more high-end session. I have an authority elevation session right now. Money message makeover session. Results, so they know that they're coming to the session, this is the result they should be thinking of and where the focus is going to be. It positions you. And now you can give it a value, because your time is valuable, and the information you're going to give and the breakthroughs they're going to have, it's even more valuable. So now you can let them know. My authority elevation sessions, because I can do as much as 2 hours with people. Depends on how I'm feeling for that week. If I'm doing 30-minute sessions or 2-hour sessions, $650. And then the last thing with positioning is you don't jump right out the gate answering questions about your package. You let them know you have a process for the conversation. So they'll get on the call and they say, oh, I just want to know how much it costs. I just want to know how you work with people and how much it costs. And some of you guys would say, oh, well, this is what I normally do. I do 12 sessions. We have an intensive. We do a retreat. And it's usually about $3,000. And then you think you're going to keep going on with the conversation, but they're dead. So what you say is you slow them down, because you're positioning yourself as the authority. You slow them down and you say, I'd love to answer that question for you, but let me kind of tell you the agenda for the call. There's a process, because I don't know. I have lots of programs and I don't know which program you're going to fit into. So without asking you these questions and really diving into where you are in your business right now, I could be giving you something that's not a good fit for you. Or I may not have anything at all. I mean, we may find out that you working with me is not the way to go. So if you can just, you know, trust the process and allow me to do this, I think this will be a really powerful conversation for both of us. Is that okay? It's one of the reasons why I had you set aside 45 minutes, an hour, whatever, however much time, because I knew it would take us about that much time to get through it all. So I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. It's going to feel like I'm probing a little bit, but it's necessary so that I can figure out, you know, how I can support you best, or if I can support you at all. Is that okay? You just take control of the conversation and bring it right back to your structure. You don't mention your fees until the end of the call. And I'm going to give you guys a power move if you haven't heard this before. Sorry, I'm reading chat. Jenna's asking if I can make myself small and come sit on her shoulder. We're working on that. It's in, what do you call it? Trademarking, copyright, whatever it is. No, I can't, Jenna, sorry. Okay, so here's a power move. Once you state your fee, everybody knows this who works with me, you shut your mouth. Don't talk about anything else, and don't forget this part. Put a sign up on your screen around you that says, state your fee, shut up. Just to remind yourself, because you need to give your client time to process what you said. And the other reason why you want to do that is because once, if there is an objection or something that they need to know about, they'll tell you what the next direction the call is supposed to go in by how they respond to you. Other than that, you're just assuming. Okay. All right, last and final one, and then I'm going to open up for questions and anybody who wants to do a makeover. The last thing that we want to really shift. What did I do? I did your package. I did your positioning. I forgot to do your offer. Sorry, guys. So your offer. So when you offer your package, you want to wrap what they need inside what they really, really want. So remember I said this earlier, the focus is wrap it inside of. So the big pretty box, the beautiful box that you really want to open is gorgeous, right? That's what they really want. But inside of the package, make sure you put in what they need. Most of the time we try to convince our clients that we're selling, we try to sell them what we know they need, and that's why they don't buy. That's the reason why I have you write down verbatim what they're saying they desire and they want, so that you can sell them what they want if you can get it for them. Because that's the pretty bow, because they buy an emotional state. Everyone buys, you say yes in a state of emotion. So the pretty bow is what they want. Make sure inside the package you put what they need. You never have to state that what they need is even in there till later. I mean, how many of you guys bought from me? You bought, some of you bought, probably didn't even really know what you were buying, except that you know that you wanted to get a specific result. And then you get this long, 2-3 page thing from me. You're like, oh, I better read this and see what all is in here. And there's stuff in there that you didn't even realize you were getting, because it's not important in the decision-making process. It just becomes icing on the cake. Okay? When you're packaging your offer, make sure it's exclusive and not for everyone. So again, you're letting them know this is for people who are committed to achieving one of their deepest desires now, sooner rather than later. I'm taking 10 people, 5 people, 8 people, 15 people, 50 people, 100 people only. No more than that. Okay, there's only 3 more spaces available. Make sure you're talking about those things. You also need to be able to name in your offer when you're making an offer, especially like on a sales page or you're talking about what you do, be able to name and describe how your clients will feel once they solve this big pain or problem. what further problems are caused if they don't solve the problem. You should have a running list of what those things are so you can just roll them off of your tongue at any moment. Because again, buying happens in a state of emotion. Language is powerful. You guys hear me say this all the time. Your voice is the most powerful income creation tool on the planet. Once you learn how to master it, that's when you'll master your income. It's more important than strategy. The first thing that is important is who you be. It's how you show up to the table. The second thing is what you talk about. How your language talks about what you do. And then make sure there's always a limiter. Cool. All right, I know I gave you guys a lot of information, but hopefully you were looking at this from the eyes of what can I shift in my own business? And so I want you to start thinking what's one big takeaway that you have from today, and I want you to post it in the playground, and I'm going to answer right now any questions that anybody has. Anybody. I've got some people that are not where I can see them on video. So if you have a question and you're not on video, so that I know that you're going to be chiming in, all you need to do for me is type in the chat box if you can. If not, go ahead and just unmute yourself and talk. And I'm not sure how you do that if you're dialing in on the phone to unmute yourself, and I'm kind of leery about doing that online. Okay, any questions for anybody or anything you want to see how it pertains to you and your business and how you're structuring this for yourself? So everybody's got it. You're going to go out and ace it.
No, I have a question.
Okay.
Okay. I had a client that said, after I gave her the fee, after I did the whole process and gave her the fee, she goes, Peggy, that's a lot of money. And I wasn't sure if I should say, yes, it is, or what is the value to you? I'm not sure what the response should have been.
What did you say?
I think I said, yes, I agree with you. It's a lot of money. And I'm not sure what I said after that. I don't remember.
Okay. I know what I would say, but that's just my personality. So whenever you get an objection, you do want to validate the client's view. So you don't want to like say, well, it's not really a lot of money. You know what I mean? So you do want to, but not necessarily say, yes, I agree with you. You know? So I would say I agree that $5,000 is a investment. So that's kind of anchoring with what she says instead of saying it's a lot of money. But I agree that it's an investment. Probably what I would have said is in relation to what?
Okay.
So again, it's about questions. Or the other thing is I probably would have waited to see what she said next. Because that wasn't a question, it was just an exclamation. $5,000 is a lot of money. And I would.
But she said, but I think I said, yes, it is. You have to consider the value to you. And then she said, I just can't. So then I offered her, I said, well, what is it that you're interested in? And then she got into the oils. She wanted oils. So I invited her to a class that she didn't show up for.
So what we want to do when somebody has a money objection is we want to really deal with that. Because the scapegoat is, what do you have that's cheaper that I can do right now? How can I pick apart what you have? And so allow her to stay within that. When we get uncomfortable with the money conversation, like the moment somebody says, especially women, it's too expensive or I don't have it, we get this like personal pinch in the inside of our spirit that's like, oh, I'm too much. I'm charging too much. And we kind of take it personal. So you want to definitely make sure you're removing yourself out of it, because remember that investment is tied down to not you, it's tied to her ability to get results, right?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't have that investment at that level if that wasn't the case, for you to deliver what she needs in order to get a result, correct? So you hear me say this all the time, partner with your clients through the objections. Partner with them. So instead of taking a third party, like you're looking at the whole situation from an angel's point of view, out of body experience, and now it's like third person dealing with it. Be with them and what they're feeling, and remember how you feel when you make those kind of investments. I get that. I totally understand where you're coming from. You know, when I've made investments like that, I felt the same way. So let's talk about that. And then just let them talk. And she might say, I just can't do that. Okay, tell me more about that. So this is where you get to be your client's champion and allow them to talk themselves through it so they can see if it's fear or if it really is a monetary issue. And then you guys have your structure for how to deal with objections. So let them talk through it, and then you've got your questions. Is it real? Is that the truth? Right? If they say something like, I don't have the money, is that the truth? And what are you going to do if you don't do this? Because now you're just kind of walking them through what's reality for you when you walk away from this call.
I did go through that with her.
But from a standpoint of being her partner, not necessarily convincing her or hoping that she's going to say yes, but getting really with her and saying, I get where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, allow yourself the space to be that, to step into that role of, okay, we're at this point, and at this point, that seems like a huge investment. So let's talk about what makes it huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. And see, here's the deal. You know, a lot of times people come to me, they'll ask me what to say during objections, as if I were there, the outcome would be different. And the reality of it is not like, well, Peggy, what could you have said to make her say yes? Because the truth of the matter is when you asked her if it was real, she might not have had the money. Your job in a sales conversation is not to figure out what to say to get people to say yes and to be able to part with their money. It's again to make sure that they're realizing they're making this decision for a rational reason, not an irrational reason, right? Based on fear or what they think might happen or not getting the result or something like that. And you are the facilitator of a decision, a yes or a no. The most disservice you can do to someone is to let them leave undecided. And in the times where you do allow them to leave undecided, put really strict time restrictions on it. Because anybody who leaves undecided, they decided no the moment they got off the phone. That's the reality. That's really the truth. It'll be a rare cold day in hell when somebody who says, let me think about it, comes back and says, okay, I'm ready. Let me figure out the money and let me think about it are two different things. Got it? People usually decide before they get off the phone. Where you're being a powerful stand for your clients is when you help them, you be a mirror and help them recognize that, and you take a stand for them and say, let's just make a decision. Because it doesn't feel good when you have something weighing on you and you're trying to figure it out. You never want to leave somebody in that space. You want to leave them with, I decided no and that's good for me. Or I just decided yes and I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Okay. So in the objections, it's not about like what can you say tricks. It's where you get to be who you say you want to be for them anyway, and make sure you're walking them through the decision-making process. Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions or things that have come up for people that they want to talk about, dive into, share, revamp? Bye, Lane. All right, so here's what I want you guys to do. I'm going to give you one more chance if you got a question or something you want me to look at for you. Whether it's like Peggy, who had a question about something that came up in a sales conversation, or revamp how you introduce yourself when people talk to you. I'm willing to do that, and I'm on the line right now. And like I told you earlier, that's my gift in communicating those things.
So I need help in the revamp of how I speak to myself. Or not speak to myself. I know how to speak to myself. Speak about me. In that I'm not a CPA. I offer, for high-end CFO services. That is can be outside the purview of a CPA, you know, a regular CPA firm. Because a lot of them do taxes, some of them do bookkeeping, but not many offer that higher strategy. How do you really forecast cash flow and revenue and all that stuff so that you can stay on track, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I haven't been doing much networking outside of people, you know, I talk to just people that I know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to figure out how to, like I have this virtual, you know, or these CFO by your side services, which is this virtual CFO services.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to figure out, so can I read to you what I sent to somebody? Let's see. And this might be, I think it's, yeah, okay, so I'm not gonna say anymore. So what I put, a CFO helps it bring a different level, because this was explaining she didn't know what a CFO was in the first place, because her peer group all have, you know, some of them have controllers.
Okay, so let me stop you right there. And remember how I said about using your language? CFOs,
yes.
CPA, that's part of your language. So we need to figure out what to replace that with so that they understand you're just going to help me do this. You can still call yourself a CFO if you want to, or once you get the job, let them know you're the virtual CFO.
Okay.
But what is it? What's the result that you're really trying to get for them? And that's what I would do. Because the moment you give them some of that jargon, I'm a CPA, a CFO, a COO, anything you say after that, they can't hear. Why? Because they're trying to figure out what that means. They're stuck.
Got it. Okay. Well, then
that'll eliminate you having that question. So what's the result of having the CFO?
All right. So what I put here, and well, anyway, so what I put, as your CFO, we will work strategically to maximize your efforts and leverage what you already have in place. With the CFO on your executive team, your vision, values, and voice align strategically so you can navigate each season of your business journey with grace and ease. This allows you to move from urgency to priority in leading your company. And as you've heard me say many times, by working with me, you not only know your numbers, you also increase cash flow and profitability, which in turn gives you the confidence and peace of mind that your company is funding your lifestyle, lifetime, and legacy. So that's what I put.
So probably that last couple of lines is where you want to live, but restructure it a little bit. There's a lot of like high level language in that my third grade nephew would not understand.
Okay.
Okay. So those last three things where you started to say increase their cash flow, that's what they want, right? So we find the hidden cash flow in your business, or we help you increase your cash flow, or I help you increase your cash flow. You said lead from a place of grace and ease. Read that last, I think it was 2 or 3 lines for me.
Sure. Just put, with a CFO on your executive team, your vision, values, and voice align strategically so you can navigate each season.
Audrey, go to the last, that whole paragraph, go to like the last 2 sentences there.
Okay, so it says, this allows you to move from urgency to priority in leading your company. And as you've heard me say many times, by working with me, you not only know your numbers, you also increase cash flow and profitability, which in turn gives you the confidence and peace of mind that your company is funding your lifestyle, lifetime, and legacy.
So if somebody were to ask me what I do if I was you, I would say the work that I do when I come alongside of my clients allows them to increase their cash flow in their business so that they can lead their company with confidence and peace of mind.
Okay.
Confidence and peace of mind, to me, actually sounds more like your language. So start to listen to people who need you and find out what it is they really want and replace those 2 words with those words.
Well, and that's what I've actually heard a lot, right? Because people say they want what financial peace and financial freedom and financial fitness and financial clarity and financial independence and financial certainty. So that's what they want in the area.
Those are the words I would actually say. So they can have
Oh, okay.
financial peace, so they can have financial clarity. So
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, use their words, use their language.
Okay.
So if you can write all those that you just said, that they said with the word financial in front of it, that had more power. Did you guys hear the difference in the power of using that and saying peace of mind and confidence? So you help them increase their cash flow so they can lead their company and have financial peace, financial clarity, financial whatever the other things you said.
Okay.
I'm a CFO and I'm like, I need financial peace. I need financial clarity, right?
Right.
Right. And now you're speaking to my top of mind, what I don't have when I lay my head on the pillow.
Right. So
a lot of times we will paraphrase the language that our clients use because we're like, okay, this is a roundabout what they mean. You guys need to start using that language verbatim. When they tell you the problems they're having and what's keeping them up at night, when they're saying, I'm worried about this, and that. To you, it may sound like it's not marketing language, but it is. Okay. That's where the power lies, especially if you hear it often.
Yeah. Okay.
So let your bio do the talking of that other stuff, and in your marketing and in your networking, use that language.
Okay.
Okay.
That's helpful. Yes, thank you.
I'd like to see what you come up with when you're done.
I'll post it. Yeah, because I have to write the About Me page. So I'll post that, and then the idea of what a 30-second intro will look like.
Okay, cool. Thanks for stepping up and asking a question. All right, before I shut it down, anybody else? Let me make sure there's no chat that I'm missing. Nope, looks like we're good. Okay. So the last thing that I want everybody to do for me, just as you kind of like take a deep breath and take in everything that you've learned today, is go back in the group for me, use the hashtag Supernova Sales School, and write your one big aha and your one big takeaway from this session today. And I'm going to go back through and look at those. It'll help me anchor in the value that I'm bringing to the table, but also I want to see where you guys are and what you're thinking. There's a lot going on in the community. I have a bunch of challenges that are going to be coming out. I really wanted to do this training because, like I said, we're midway through the year. And I think people are not in this panic mode, but sort of missing the boat because we're looking at our services from our eyes and what we know we can offer our clients. And there's people sitting there hungry, waiting on you to feed them, but they don't know that you can serve them because your language is missing them and it's going over their head. So practice, and I don't mean practice standing in front of a mirror. Find somebody to freaking talk to. Start using your new language, and then give people an offer to have a conversation with you about how you can support them in that, and make sure your offer for that conversation has some benefits and it has a results-driven name for them. Okay? I'm so excited that you joined me today. I'm excited that you guys stayed. This was a pretty long session. I knew it would be, but we're kicking off August. You have the ability right now to still double what you made last year, to make more money than you can even imagine, but you just got to step out in faith and know and have the confidence that people are looking for you to serve them. If your language can meet them where they are, then you'll have more people who are willing to say yes to you supporting them to accomplishing their goals, because they still have those goals. They still want to do those things that they want to do. They just don't know where to turn. And if they're hanging out in your communities, if they're listening to your live streams and your Periscopes and they're opening your emails, they're waiting on the offer that's for them. That's really what's going on. They're waiting on you to connect with them. All right, everybody. So if you can do that one last thing for me over in the playground, give me your one big aha, one big takeaway. Use the hashtag Supernova Sales School. Be on the lookout in the thread for the challenges. We're going to do a phone challenge That's going to be challenging you to pick up the phone and make some phone calls to get yourself booked for speaking gigs, to jump on a phone call and make huge offers with particular clients that you're looking out for. We're going to do a money challenge. That's going to challenge you to do things like raise your rates right on the spot, make it announcements live to people, all kinds of things like that. And I'm also going to do a challenge that's about you owning your authority and the mindset that goes with that and how you show up in the marketplace. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm also going to do about 2 webinars. I haven't decided if it's only going to be 2, where I'm going to do some training around each of those things to help you position yourself in the marketplace. So it's going to be fun. Look out for it. Hopefully you're going to be sharing it with your other communities and playing full out, because it's scary stuff. It's going to be easy for you to duck back and go, okay, well, I just won't do this one today. To call yourself to a higher level and to say, you know what, I will have what I say I will have, and I'm going to step up and do what it takes to have it. All right, guys, thank you for being on Supernova Sales School, and I will see you next first Thursday for the next Supernova Sales School. Talk to you soon. Bye.